there's Jacob.
Hi,
Hello.
Jacob.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Jacob, did you forget the time, or are you just running late like I am? Because
No,
a minute ago.
I did not forget the time. I came down with a cold yesterday, unfortunately, so I'm a little out of it this week. But which is bad timing because we were discussing a format change this week that involves me talking a lot more. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, we can do it quite informally, I suppose, this week. It's Christmas week.
Jacob, the other guy you see in there with the whiskers, that's my son.
Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
From Texas.
Jacob's from St. Louis.
Near to my home stomping grounds.
So something about the config file in PHP store?
Well, yeah, I pulled up the config editor, and I'm sure you're aware that when there's something it doesn't think is right, it underscores it with red wiggly bracket, and it did that, and I like to never found it because it was one character, and my question, because I looked at the code and it's perfectly okay, but I pulled up the one from my other site, and it is different than and both of them are on version 10 and were both installed originally and have been upgraded. And the line is a at print inside the the code editor do header function, and it's one of them has got some stuff in it about global CSS. Is this to be needed or something? And the other one doesn't have that frame in there. Is that something that happened when I named a file?
Do you want to just email me the files? I'm having a hard time following. I think we're talking about _config.php, aren't we? Or are we talking? Yeah, that's a bit weird. So unless you can bring it up now.
I can't because I'm on a laptop because that's the way I keep it.
No, actually, you shouldn't anyway. It's got private information. Yeah, I shouldn't have asked that.
Anyway, the text is, well, now if I get to the right machine so I can scroll it over. The text that's different is that in the very last section of it, it starts out quote /themes quote default /css /global.css. Then it says _save to check if really needed 10/22/17. And that sort of looks like something that I would have written when I was checking something earlier on.
Yeah, I need to have a look. It seems very unusual to have that in a.
Why don't I email you the file and let you look at it?
Yeah.
That way, the easiest way to do it. So
yeah,
I won't take up.
You can just do that after the chat if you want. I'll probably reply on Monday.
Okay, no, it's no biggie. But I just wait a minute. They're both same version and everything. Why are the files different?
Yeah, they would differ because those are the files that configure that particular site. So you'd expect some differences. But
I'm noticing the same thing in two sites that I'm running. They started out on different versions of Composr. One was before the other, but the length, the number of lines in each site is totally different.
Right, yeah, so that's quite normal. So when you install, it will just put in the kind of minimal config for an install. But if you use the config editor script, I think it's called installation options, and you save, it will actually save in all the defaults. So there's like 50 different settings, but the installer only sets like 10. So when you run the installation options, it will set all 50.
So can I add in those other options that are missing from the
if you wish. I wouldn't really see the point, but there might be some settings you want to set.
Well, the reason why is because I'm the treasurer and web guy for a museum, and we have multiple domain names, and what I'm trying to do is an MSN, and I've gotten that working now. But then I noticed that there are some options that, for instance, like the on MSN option is missing from one site, which is the secondary site, to the primary site.
Okay, I don't even remember that option.
the secondary site doesn't. And one of the things that I'm trying to do is do banner sharing between the sites. I've got it working as a URL in frame, but then when you click on the banner from the on the secondary site, naturally, because of the fact that it's in frame, the primary site shows up.
Oh, that might be a bug.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't remember that option. So the on MSN option. So I'm looking at the code now.
But one of the options that I was seeing in there, the on MSN basically gave a absolute reference to the URL, whereas if it wasn't on, it would just give a just within that site reference or link to the URL.
Yeah. I don't.
And I realize that you don't do support for MSN sites, but
Yeah, well, it's true, but it's the chat, so we can chat about anything. Okay, that's an interesting option. I had completely forgotten about that option. It's not actually strictly needed. So I'm just looking at the code now. What the option does is it determines how the avatars and photos save into the database with absolute URLs. So for that situation, you would want that set to be 1 on every site in config.php. But the option isn't even needed, because if a site detects it's not the central site on the MSN, it will automatically, dynamically set a avatar and photo URL that goes through the base URL of the central site.
Right.
And the way it does that is it looks at the databases. So if it sees that the forum database is different to the site database, it knows it's a satellite site on MSN.
Nice.
And it will put in that central site space URL in front of the URLs. So it basically works automatically. I think the on MSN option exists if you want to set the forum base URL of your satellite site to actually be the same as the satellite site, which is an option if you want the whole forum to load within the satellite site rather than linking through to the central site. Because in that situation, it doesn't know the base URL of the central site, so it can't automatically put the right one in front. So I think that's the situation where you'd need that on MSN setting. I think it wouldn't hurt, I think, to actually put that on MSN setting onto every site, including the central site.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I'll do that.
I'll try that then.
Yeah, I think I'm going to document that a bit, because I literally had to look all that up now. Okay, I'm just going to write that down.
Let me ask you a real quick question. On the Bitnami installation, did you write the README file that shows up?
Probably
or
not.
Is that something they do?
Yeah, they do all the packaging.
Okay.
I'm not sure I even know what the file is, so I don't think I do.
Well, I was trying to do multiple sites by installing it multiple times.
Right.
I got it working. However, it took me a long time because I got so far into it and it was trying to set up the Windows servers for Apache. And it said, oh, I can't install that service for this particular installation.
Because there was another one.
Yeah, there's already one there. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing that happened is that I would click OK and then cancel the install. But the other day I clicked the OK button and I turned around and did something else, and lo and behold, it went ahead and installed it. It upped the count number and installed it. But there was nothing in the README file that said, okay, when you get this message, click OK, but don't get out of it, because it'll automatically do that.
Right. Okay. So I'd email them. When I've talked to Bitnami, they've been really, really good. They're a really good company. You know, all the people who work there are really responsive. So I'd send them an email about that, making some kind of suggestions. So I don't know what would be ideal, if it should just complain, if it should offer you to uninstall the other service or whatever, but if you just make some suggestions to them. What's the cat's name, by the way? It's very cute as a cat hanging out there.
That is Spot. He is a Russian blue.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why he's named a dog's name is because he has a white spot right on his throat.
Oh, is it okay? A Spot's a dog name, is it? I'm not
Yeah,
really.
Spot is a dog's name, but it's for the cat.
Right. Okay, sorry, I'm not sure I know your name.
My name is B.L.
Okay, your name is literally B.L.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
There's
it
two
is a
letters.
nickname. I'm Bob Jr. But
Oh, I see. I get it now. Okay.
there were too many Bobs in the family because we also have an Uncle Bob.
Okay.
And our mom and dad were married.
Uh-huh.
The postman mom went to high school with, and his name was Bob. And we all seemed to hang out together. And then, at 14, one of the wives would, and I wasn't married at the time, one of the wives would come up and say, "Hey, Bob," and yell across the room. And we'd all turn around and say, "Which one?" So I was watching. Go ahead.
Sorry, go on. I was just saying you can't reverse the name.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I was watching TV one day, and there was a woman that makes cheese commercial for him showing up on TV. And I went and did some research on him, and his first name was James, but he didn't go by James. He went by J.L. Kraft.
Oh.
And I said, "That's it. Go by initials."
Great.
So that's why.
Michelle, can you say hello now? It's my wife and my wife's son.
I don't know where
Good
I am.
morning.
Oh, the cat's going.
Oh, I am on. Okay. Hello, everybody.
Is it nice to have your husband home with you for a little while?
Come here.
Could you hear her then? I'm not sure you could hear her. I think the microphone's on my headset.
Oh, okay.
Why don't you just dial in on your iPad? She's going to try and dial into the chat so she can.
Oh, okay.
Although it might create terrible feedback, so we might have to mute me. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Jacob, we were not trying to hog the situation. Get yourself in here.
Oh, well, actually, Jacob wants this because A, he's got a cold,
Yeah.
and B, we were talking about the chat format and making it a bit more between different people rather than me giving a bit of a lecture. So you were asking about my flight, so let's tell you about that yesterday. It was interesting that just 2 minutes after I got onto the plane from the airport I was leaving at, the airport was evacuated because of a fire alarm. And half an hour when I got into the sky, the airport I was going to was evacuated also because of a fire alarm. In both cases, I was really lucky and it didn't really affect me. But then in the airport I was landing at, I was going through US immigration, and it was very awkward, because I go to the US on business and I've got paperwork in the system for emigrating, and they're always a bit suspicious because they think there's a risk of him not leaving because he's going to emigrate here eventually anyway. So I had to have the longer visa interview where they pull you off, not visa interview, immigration interview, where they pull you off into a room and ask you lots of questions, blah, blah, blah. So that took me about half an hour. And I literally only made my flight because I ran all the way across the airport with 2 bags on either side of me. And I got to my flight. I was the last person on there. They knew who I was. They were waiting for me. And I kind of just got on. So I was very lucky, really. Other than that, it worked perfectly and I arrived early. And it was a perfectly nice flight and I had a nice meal.
I had a similar situation a number of years ago. I worked for...
hang on, let me mute myself.
Okay. That was funny. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I downloaded this app just for this.
This is going to be a bit chaotic. I guess now you said hello, you can disconnect.
Okay.
Okay, that was silly.
I started to say, I had a similar situation. I was working for Olin Microelectronic Materials, chemical company that supplies semiconductors, and we had a plant that we did the chemical management for in Ottawa, Canada. So I flew up there to install a whole new set of software on a machine.
Mhm.
And it took me 45 minutes to get through their questions. Why
Yeah.
can't somebody from Canada do this?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, last time I was in the US and I visited my clients, the main thing I did, I was training an American to actually take over the project I was doing. So that was my favorite because I created a job.
yeah.
I've got a little Christmassy surprise anyway for you all. Do you see that?
Oh,
Okay, that's silly. I'm going to my wife's side of the family has a Christmas party. We've all got to bring stupid Christmas sweaters, jumpers in English word. So that's why I got this one. Jacob. So what are we going to do next?
Well, it sounded like you guys already got started with some discussion about websites. So Chris and I were talking this week, and we thought it might be good to have a little bit more discussion with everyone rather than just going through and programming things, even though I know that can be interesting sometimes. So, yeah, Bob, you've been with us for a few chats now. How do you use Composr on a regular basis, Bob?
I have a site that is, i.e., still under construction, that was started, about a year ago. And I more or less use it for testing stuff before I put it on. Then I do a site for a friend of mine who's in the real estate in a small town southeast of Phoenix, that it's a captive audience. It's a senior citizens RV park.
Okay.
And they have about 850 spaces, and he has sold bunches of those, as many as 5 and 6 times. It's a retirement village, and a couple comes down from Wisconsin, Michigan, Montana. A lot of them come from Canada, and they come down every year. And he gets a phone call from one of them. Well, my spouse died and I won't be able to come down anymore, so I want to sell it. And that's how he ends up doing it. The site name is woodmereassociates.com, and it's built with Composr.
Okay.
How do you spell Woodmere?
WOODMERE associates.com.
Yep, I've got that.
Cool. And what made you choose Composr for that over other systems? Just out of curiosity.
Well, it was written initially by somebody else, and I took it over in 2004. So I've been doing it for 12, 13 years, and I converted it to code that I could maintain with Dreamweaver for a long time, and it has a gallery in it of their listings. Well, I was having to do the maintenance on that, so I was looking for something in content management so that I could make him do it. It's in there, but I haven't made him do it yet. B.L's the one that tipped me off about Composr, and so.
Okay. And B.L, you said you use Composr for a museum website network?
Yes, museum network. What's going on with it is I'm one of the founding members of the museum, which we started in 2005. And at the time when we started the museum, I had just retired from the Air Force. I had been doing HTML coding and JavaScript coding and active server page coding, so quite well. And I was working on an Access, which is not very good for a backend for websites for security reasons, but it was what I had available at the time. And then I later migrated it to MySQL Server. But it was the time frame in which I was having to do a lot of the development on my own. It was just the president of the organization would come up and say, "Hey, I want to have this capability embedded into it," and it was just like, wow, here I am trying to rewrite, or not rewrite, but reinvent the wheel, so to speak, and for different capabilities like a gallery and the CMS of it, where I wasn't the only one writing content for the site. I had to create my own user and login capability and stuff like that. And it's like, there's got to be an easier way. So then I started integrating different website features by different programs. And then you had the problem where it wasn't a single login.
Mm-hmm.
For each one, there was no LDAP capability. So then I said, let's see if I can find something that would lend itself to that. And that's when I stumbled upon Composr. And I saw the fact that it had e-commerce, it had a gallery, it had forums, banner sharing, and it's like, wow, if I can integrate all of our same software, my job or workload is going to be diminished greatly. And so that's why I started using Composr. I've been using it for about a year and a half now, and it's every time I get into it, and which is almost on a daily basis, I learn something new, or I've ran across something that I wanted to do, but it was like, how do I do this now? And I don't get me wrong, I enjoy the software. And how it integrates. And Chris, I applaud your efforts. It's like, how do you keep track of everything?
I struggle nowadays, actually. Yeah.
But it does everything that we need it to. And then a month ago, my sister-in-law called me up or texted me and said, "Hey, BL, I need a website." It's like, okay, I know where we're going with this. So her site is just starting out, and she's going to be running a senior daycare software or site where in the small town in Texas that she's at, we lost my wife's mother a year ago, to dementia. It wasn't Alzheimer's, but it was actually dementia. And she had been suffering with that. And Kat, my sister-in-law, was basically doing the home care for her along with Dad. And, she just decided, hey, I can continue doing this and do it for others. And she's also had another couple of customers that she's been working with. And so she decided, hey, I need to have a web presence, and that way she can have 24-hour-a-day advertisement, basically, or a nameplate out on the internet, telling people what she does. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't even have my site up yet because of the fact that I haven't had a chance to convert it over with working a full-time job and doing the treasury work as well as the web guys work for the museum. So it's really helped me in the fact that I don't have a lot of workload now developing, that I've been able to push off onto you, Chris. Sorry.
Chris, flip to me right quick just for a second.
Yeah. Oh, your video, it says it's turned off to save bandwidth.
Says that for me as well, for Bob.
Says that for me.
Is that an automated thing, Jacob? Or is
Yes.
that
I think that's automatic.
Okay. Possibly if you rejoin the chat, if you just close the window and reopen, it might fix it.
I was just going to show you what I've printed out of the documentation.
So if you can just disconnect from the chat and reopen, I think you can show us.
Okay.
Or
well,
refresh.
This is not all of it. This is just some of it.
Sounds like a lot of paper.
Paper, yes.
Yeah. As Jacob says, just refresh the browser window. Actually, that'll do it. Then we'll be able to see your camera.
Yeah, printing out the documentation's an interesting concept. I know for Composr specifically, I always have to go to Google and use the site option to search just the Composr site. I find that's the easiest way to find things in the documentation for me, personally.
Well, I printed that out a long time ago, but that's one nice thing about it is if you can find it in there, it'll be quite well explained.
Yeah.
Yeah, but personally, I'd actually just look in my text editor because I have the Composr platform in my text editor, so I just open the right file and look at it. I was going to say it's really cool. I was going to say to see American post, obviously that's very normal. But when I started out, I was just an English guy at college, and one of the first sites someone did with Composr was something to do with electing one of the, I think it was a congressman for Texas. This was, I can't remember if it was the first time President Bush won or the second time President Bush won, but that election. So as an English guy in college, seeing my software being used to create campaigns for US Congress was really quite amazing to me. I really enjoyed that.
As anything gets complicated, as which this is, the learning curve of how to use it is pretty steep. And I must commend you because you've done a good job of making it get started with it, and all want to do some fancy things that probably nobody else in the world wants to do. So we have to do them and can't rely on you to do them.
Yep. Yeah, well, we've got to try keeping making it simpler. So if anyone here has any ideas about, what we can make simpler, just bring them up in the chat. And if there's one thing I want to do in any major version, it's just to make it a little bit easier for people. Definitely will be doing it in the next one. Okay, B.L, you mentioned you had a problem with banners. I can probably actually show you how you can fix that right now.
Okay.
I can fix it as a bug, but I can give you a workaround right now. And so just to give some context, B.L has a multi-site network. So what that means is he has multiple Composr sites that are linked together via a central site.
Right now.
And two, yeah. And he's using that for banner sharing too. So you can actually, regardless of whether you've got a multi-site network or not formally, you can still link the banner networks of Composr sites to each other. So you can kind of chain it. So let's say you've got site A and site B, and you want site B to show all the banners of site A. You can put in the link to the banner script of site A into site B as a banner, and it just changes it. But the problem B.L has is because the banner, when it's showing a banner that's a web page, it works as a frame at the top of your site. And when he's clicking links, it's actually opening the link inside the banner frame when he's got his chaining system done. So I'm going to share my screen and just show where the templating for this is, because you should just be able to edit the template. Just going to start my screen. Looks like I actually have a problem. Screen sharing extension failed to install. B.L, are you able to share your screen? Maybe I can step it through.
Let me check here. Share link and share a number. I'm just logging in through the website, so I don't think that capability is
up at the top of your screen in the middle, next to the microphone and video buttons. There should be one.
Okay. Stop screen sharing. Yeah, add extension. Stand by.
All right.
We see it.
Yeah, we see it. So this is the main site, and so this banner up here is basically the only ad banner that I have currently running. And when you click on that from SARM, which is the San Antonio Railroad Heritage Museum main website, it takes you to this page here and gives you the capability to donate through PayPal. Now, when I go to Aram, you notice the same banner is there.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've done is I've got that set up through a ad ban or an in-frame through the banner sharing. But when you click on it, you get SARM showing up through the frame. And since I have the scroll bars turned off in the coding for the in-frame, you can't do anything with that banner.
Yeah.
So what I was wanting to do is to fix it so that when you click on that, it takes you directly to the San Antonio Railroad Heritage page, just like what we see now.
Right, so can I step you through how to fix it? And we just fix
Sure.
it right now. So
on the
right, yeah, so you need to be on the central site, because we're going to change the template on that, where the banners are hosted. So I need you to be go to edit the list of templates.
Okay, so that's under structure.
No, style.
Style. Okay.
Yep. Then themes. Yeah, that's it. Click that. And then is the second theme the one you're using? That one? Yeah. So yeah, to edit templates there.
So edit templates, okay.
Now look for the template named banner_image. I can see it. It's about 5 up from the bottom or 7 up from the bottom. That's it.
There you go.
And let's scroll down and edit. Okay, so
On the full screen so that.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. I'm actually just going to quickly look on my machine, just because it's slightly blurry for me, and I'll tell you exactly what to change.
Destination about.
No, I think we're going to have to add a HTML attribute. Just bear with me there. So the last line, about 2/3 of the way across, scrolling horizontally, about 2/3 of all the way across. So you're only about a fifth across now. Okay, stop.
No.
Okay, do you see that plus start if known past or false local 5 equals blank then n?
This here.
Yeah, just remove the temp code either side of that target. I'm actually going to paste something. I'll prepare it for you. You have to open the chatter. I think there's a sidebar on the left of the chat.
Nothing showing.
Yeah,
yet.
I'm not seeing anything in chat, Chris.
I haven't pasted it yet.
Okay.
That's why we.
Okay, so you see I've said from the first bit, which you can see in your editor right now, then I'm changing that to something longer. So if you can paste a longer thing on top of the first bit, that should fix your issue. Yeah, so you had it on the screen.
Yeah.
It was what was about 2/3 across. Yeah, there it is on that last line.
So that goes in the link exempt bracket?
Yes and no. What you're seeing isn't quite what you think you're seeing there. That's actually the end of the previous attribute. So, after link exempt, there's speech mark. After the speech mark, keep selecting all the way up to the closing brace at end. Left. Before href.
Okay, right there.
Yeah, press backspace to get rid of that. Then get rid of the 2 braces too. One more, yep, good. And now paste in that big blob I gave you.
This in there, okay. Right here.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's probably right. I can't quite see, but if we can...
Let me bring it back open again. I just did a save.
Okay, yeah, we can just test it now. So if you want to switch to the satellite site that had the problem and refresh that site and see if it's fixed. It wasn't quite right, yeah.
Yeah, I put in code in there in order to pull that, so...
okay, let's go back to the editor and have a look.
Let's see here, that was...
Jacob, there's no way I can control his screen, is there?
No, not through Jitsi, unfortunately.
Okay, can you just undo what you did? I think there's an undo function. And, it's that little... Yeah, okay. I think that worked. So we're back to where we were. Okay. Okay, let's make this a bit simpler. Just scroll right to the far left of the scroll bar. To the left, you're going to the right. All the way to the left. I'll tell you what, there's an easier way I can do this. I can just create the entire template and put it into the chat, and then you can paste the whole thing in. Because it's a bit difficult to explain. So. Okay, so I'm going to paste into the chat the entire. Let's see if you can select all that and just paste it over.
Which screen are you guys seeing? Because I'm not... let's see here. Hang on.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the right screen.
Okay.
You can also see the...
The reason why is because I wanted to log in and pull out the coding on Aram, the satellite site, so that wasn't causing the problem in there as well.
No, I'm pretty sure it's the central site because the frame itself is in the central site. And change the template that determines what's inside the frame. B.L, so can you give us a little rundown of what's going on?
So, like I said, what I'm doing is here. Can you see that screen now?
Yeah, it's not actually a problem on that site. It's just because it's come through with the frame.
Here's the in-frame code that I had used in order to get that to work. And so what I was wanting to do is to pull that out if that was the case.
No, I've realized actually there's another fix I could have given you. But no, you don't need to edit that.
Okay. So you copied more text in there? Okay.
Yeah, I gave you the entire contents of the
So that's the entire line?
The entire file.
The entire file. Okay.
Yeah.
So select all the way from the top and all the way down to the bottom. All paste.
That's works.
Okay. Okie dokie. Now go to Aram. Go back up to the home and see if it works. So we got the banner.
Oh, it's still doing it, isn't it?
Now, like I was saying, I was wondering if because of the in-frame coding in that banner on Aram, if that was the problem.
Well, I could give you a way of fixing it that would mean changing that code, and I might in a sec. What I was trying to do is, as I was telling the hyperlink on the image, the banner image, to open its target into _top, which is the which breaks outside the frame basically. But because we're not quite getting this to work this way, I'm not sure why. Let's do it the other way. So if you edit the banner with the iframe tag in, you can do it that way.
Do banners normally go through iframes, even when they don't?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's the problem then.
Yeah, kind of. Actually, you didn't need to use an iframe tag because Composr will automate that. If you put in the destination of the banner just to the banner.php script, you wouldn't have had to write the iframe code. But because you have, this can actually work as a solution to us. So all we need to do is we need to add another HTML attribute to that tag, and that would be target equals, and then the value of the attribute would be _top.
But see, the thing is that are all the banners, hypothetically, are all the banners going to be coming from the same site? I would assume so. But the thing is that each banner can have a different target.
Target means that, where the link is going to open up.
It's going to show up on serum.org. So, for instance, what I was wanting to do was when you click on this banner up here, it takes you to a specific page. And what I was wanting to do on Aram was be able to click on that and it would open up this page.
Yeah, okay, so I just realized there's an unknown temp directive error which explains actually the mistake I made. So we'll have to fix that in a minute. But the other thing is target isn't determining what page the banner is going to open. What it does is it determines where the banner is going to open. It's target equals _top will say that when you click the link, whatever the destination of that link is, will open at the top level browser window. Which is basically saying it was _top.
_target?
_top. TOP. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so target is an interesting extra attribute. It can take various values. So, for example, self means open in the current frame, but top basically means open to the top level part of the window. It is a little bit confusing.
Wouldn't that have to go in the A tag and not the iframe tag? Or does it work on the iframe?
I think it works with iframe tags.
Okay.
I hope so. Anyway.
So.
I've done it.
Yeah, I think that does need to be in the A tag.
Okay. In which case, we need to go back to what we were doing. Okay, let's do this differently. I'm gonna. Yeah, let's go back to the template editor and we'll fix that error you're seeing too. I'm just going to simplify down what we're doing a lot, rather than trying to determine exactly what target will be used based on temp code. We'll just say target's always going to be top in the link tag and A tag. I'm going to paste in both of that. Yeah, I made a mistake. I assumed the directive existed. Link code directive that doesn't actually exist. That's what I didn't know.
Okay, so that file moved into the custom area.
That's right, yeah. We've edited it now. Now I've just pasted in the new template contents.
Yeah, make sure I grabbed the right one.
Yeah, so Jacob, I did make a mistake there, assuming iframe had a target attribute.
Yeah.
Frame does, if you're using very old school frames, which no
Okay.
one does anymore. Frame does. And form does, but iframe doesn't function. Okay, so I think that's going to be fixed now. It's been a bit of a run around.
Okay, that worked. Now let's bring up Aram and go back into the editor to get the banner fixed, the coding in there, and pull out that target.
Yeah, it's not very important actually. The browser's just going to ignore it.
Okay, I'm in Aram now. Click on there.
I think it's worked, doesn't it?
Woohoo! It worked.
Okay, finally. Okay, great. Great.
Problem solved. Thank you, sir.
So, Chris, would you mind explaining what change you made to do that?
Yeah. Okay, I just got to think how I'm going to explain this. So the default, I'll give a log explanation just to make sure I'm clear what I'm saying. So he's got an iframe to the banner.php script. And the banner.php script.
You want me to share that back so that people can see it?
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
So BL has on his satellite site, he has an iframe into the banner.php script on his central site. The banner.php script displays the banner rotation to the central site. For each banner, it will determine how it's going to show that banner. And he's using a banner that is an image banner. Because it's an image banner, it's going to use the banner image template, which shows the image with a hyperlink around it. And the hyperlink takes you to the destination of that banner. So there's an image and there's a destination. Now, by default, Composr has some code in that template that determines what the link target will be. That is where the link is going to open up at. And the temp code for that, just reading it in English, it's start if none passed or false, local, target equals blank, end. And what that does is it says if it's not a local link, it will open in a new window.
Right.
In other words, it's saying that banners that are going to external sites should open in new windows.
Mm-hmm.
And for the case of that not being true, it's not determining a target at all. In which case, it will display the default target for a frame, which is to open within that frame.
Right.
If we were being explicit, that would be the same as target equals _ self.
Mm-hmm.
So _ self is the default. So by just getting rid of all that temp code and just saying target equals _ top, what we're saying is we're targeting links for that banner, regardless of context. They're always going to go to _top, and _top is frame breaking. So it's going to open within the same browser tab or window, but it's going to escape any frames it happens to be in. So I'll just explain target a bit better here. So we've got target equals self, the default, so that opens in the same frame. We've got target equals top, which is frame breaking. We've also got target equals _ blank, which opens a new browser window or browser tab, depending on how your browser is set up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also name targets, so you can have frames within your site, multiple iframes, and you can say that a banner clip is going to open within one of the different frames of your website.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone really does that nowadays. Back in the day when frames were quite common for making sites, you'd quite often determine what frames links are going to click into. Actually, I'm not even sure it works with iframes. It might only be old school frames. Yeah, so that's it. BL, I don't think you need any banners to open in the new browser tab, do you? So this little workaround worked perfectly fine for you. I was trying originally to make it so that it would be a bit smarter about it, but I accidentally used a temp code directive that doesn't exist. I assumed that the temp code directive if past and true existed, and it didn't. So I'd have to have a look at the temp code manual to work out exactly what I was meant to do, and that would take me a bit too long.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jacob, do you want to decide what we're going to do next? We could talk a little bit about people's sites, like you suggested.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, we already have been a little bit. Yeah, so what me and Chris were talking about was focusing these chats a little bit more on your guys' websites that you're actually making in production. And like Bob said earlier, sometimes there's things that you want to do that you just don't know where to start with, sort of approaching that kind of thing and using these chats to get that kind of thing done for you guys in sort of a collaborative manner. So if either of you have any more questions like the banner thing, just little things you wanted to tweak on your websites, or any new features you're looking to implement that you're just not sure where to start with, these chats would be a great way to bring those up. Anything you guys have been thinking about doing with your websites that you'd like some insight on from Chris or anyone?
Not to hog the situation, but I have one that I would like. Has anybody still got the link for Woodmere up there?
I do. I can't share my screen though.
Oh, maybe I should do it then. Anyway, I came across something this week that I had done when I first did this. In the main start part of the opening page, there is a block which has got all kinds of copyright information and address of their offices and some few things like that. And I made that page the default for made a bunch of child pages. Well, I had to edit that this week, and I got like 15 pages in there. And so I thought, well, I'd like to make that a bottom block, quote and unquote, like right panel and left panel are.
Can we just pause it for a sec there, Jacob? Because you've probably got working screen sharing. Could you open that up?
Yeah, I actually, I've already got my screen on the stream. I'll go ahead. I'll share my screen for you guys. You guys are going to see both of my screens, though, just because the way that screens on Linux work. It treats the entire thing like one giant screen. Can you guys see it?
Oh, how about BL shares it then?
Okay, yeah, that would work better for you guys.
I thought I had a link for it. There it is. Okay.
So, Bob, are you talking about the block that starts with the name of the person that says designated broker?
Yes, the block down at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, the James Boulard, that block.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to take that block and make it into a panel bottom type of thing rather than that way. Where do I go to find out where to put that in once I create the block?
I can explain it. I'm just trying to think how I'm going to explain it. What's the best? Who's going to do it? Is it okay if BL logs into your site and does everything?
This will be Dad, send me a text with the password that you set me up with, and also the username.
Well, actually, there may be a better way. If someone has a test site,
I can go to the site as admin if that's what you want.
Yeah, I'm not sure if your screen sharing is going to work. That's the only problem.
Well,
I can't see your video. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see your screen share.
Yeah, I think you would have to just try refreshing if you wanted to try doing that, Bob.
Refreshing
okay, well,
the browser.
Let me go get it.
Okay.
I think actually I can share my screen now. In which case, that's all we need. It's just started working suddenly. So I think you can see my screen now, can't you?
Yep.
Okay, then in which case, that's fine. I can show you on my test site how to do it. Okay, so this is panel. I'm just getting used to my computer setup here. So this is my panel right here. And I don't think I've got any other panels. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a custom panel. So the normal panel bottom goes kind of here, right across. But we're going to make a panel that goes underneath the middle bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we can do that pretty easily, actually. And I can show you how to do it now. So I'm logged in as admin, and I'm going to go to the admin zone. Okay, so I'm going to edit the global HTML wrap template. So style themes. And I'll do it on my unnamed theme, which is what I'm running. Okay. So I'll step through how the default panels work, then it should be pretty obvious how to add a custom one. So it's the load panel directive. So we see here, ignore the stuff about mobile because we're just thinking about desktop right now. So I'm going to highlight the code to the panel top, and it's saying if it's not empty, when you load, I say it from inside in. So load panel loads up the panel into a temp code string, and then trim just removes any white space.
Okay.
And if the contents of it, when any white space is removed, is not empty, it will show it. So if you have a panel with just spaces in, it won't show it because it's trying to be smart enough to skip it, what would be perceived as empty by a human. And it just shows it just in a tag for it, and it just shows it. And it's the same for bottom, it's in a different place, and it's the same for left. Load panel left. The HTML for each case is slightly different because we're trying to do different things, but the basic premise is the same each time. It's checking it's not empty and it's showing it. So we wanted to show underneath middle, which is the middle parameter. So all we need to do.
I see what you're getting ready to do.
Yeah. Just have to do load panel, and let's call it something. So it's not going to be bottom because we already have a different bottom. We can call it inner bottom. How about that? And I'm not even bothering to do any of that if non-empty stuff, because I don't think we even need to set up any HTML tags for it. It can just append itself directly underneath middle, and if it's empty, it just won't show it. So I'll save that. And I believe what will happen now, if I refresh my home page, it will look absolutely the same without any error messages because it's just not there, so it's not going to do anything. So what I need to do now is to create the right page. So pages. So I'm going to create a page. I'm going to put it in the root zone. Can you hear that whirring sound, by the way?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's a vacuum cleaner or something.
No, it's like a test.
Oh, it's outside. Okay. My wife Rochelle was saying it's just like a neighborhood security test thing.
Yeah.
I guess it's an American thing. I'm
Just
not
in
used
case you
to.
have like a tornado warning or something.
Right, she says in case of a tornado warning. This
that's
is
happened every
completely
month.
alien to me. Yeah, we don't have anything like this. I've also seen you've got these cool text alert to SMS systems where if there's like some kind of predator around, you'll get text messages. At least in some states you do, which is really cool, I think. We don't have anything like that either. Okay, so I'm creating a panel in the root zone. So the root zone is just a zone called blank. Then colon panel underscore, I think it was inner underscore bottom, wasn't it? So panel underscore just means it's the panel we've set up, and inner underscore bottom. And again, it's the root zone. If it was the site zone, we'd start to site colon. Okay, and add. I don't think you have a separate site zone set up on your site, do you, Bob? I think it's just
No, not.
Great. So I'll just get rid of all the default stuff here, and I'm just going to say this is a test panel.
Yeah, that's fine.
And fingers crossed. That's all we need to do. Yep, that's it.
There it works.
Pretty
That's
simple.
what I want.
Yep.
I figured it was something simple, but it just escaped me.
Yeah, that was a nice little tutorial, that one. Okay, any more questions? If not, we can close this off quite early because.
I think we've drained your brain enough.
Well, my brain's fine. It's just I get on to do some other things. My computer system isn't entirely set up yet because I've just switched countries yesterday.
Do you get jet lag when you do that trip?
Well, no, because I usually pretty much exist in an American time zone anyway. I go to bed at like 5 in the morning in UK time. No, I'm just, I didn't actually sleep the night before my flight at all because I had a 8:30 a.m. flight, so I was going to bed like 5 normally. I couldn't sleep, so I slept on the plane. But I'm pretty refreshed today actually, which is kind of surprising to me. Okay, so if we've got no more questions, what I said to Jacob is we can decide exactly when the next chat will be at the end of every chat. And ideally, I would have talked to a few people, other people, and seen when they'd be available, but I haven't done that. So if we just said the same time next week, is that good for everybody?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Me too.
That'll work for me.
Okay. Yeah, usually somewhere between 9:30 Central to, is it, what time Central is it normally we do, Jacob?
Normally we did 1 p.m. before.
Right. So anything between that kind of 9:30 to 1 seems to work pretty well for Europe and the US. It doesn't work well at all for anyone kind of in Asia or one of the Pacific Islands. So we might try and juggle things around a bit in the future just to give other people a chance to come in. But I think for now, 9:30 is pretty good. So we all done? Do you want to just wrap up, Jacob?
Sure. So like I said, we are going to try and make the chats a little bit more about your guys' actual websites. Now, Chris was still wanting to continue doing some of the in-depth programming stuff that he has been, possibly in a separate event from this general meeting. Do you have any idea about, were we going to talk about that today, Chris? Or?
Well, I think we're going to start doing that in mid-January, start doing that again in mid-January.
Okay.
Just because I'm on my laptop right now and it's not quite ideal, and it's Christmas, so
okay.
I'm going to take a bit more time off. But yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll have a separate stream, and then anyone who wants to carry over to that separate stream, we'll put in the link to it. I'll just go over and do some more programming, and I'll probably be hosting the stream myself, but I'll talk to Jacob a bit about exactly how we'll do it.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Bob and B.L. for coming, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week. It looked like Jason will be here next week as well. So yeah, this was our 5th weekly Composr chat, and see you guys next week. Bye.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas. Yep. Bye.